It's hard to leave the thing that defined you.
Yeah.
Forever. So like for me, it went from bikes, and then I did a few stunts. I did like movie Mall Cop, and I did this movie Stick It, and I did some movies, and then around 2000, I was starting to get calls, and I got a call. There used to be a TV show called Chuck, and I got called to double the guy in the last season, which would have been honestly probably what I needed in my career to really jumpstart me for stunts. Because I'm working right by the house. I'm working every week. New stunt people are coming in every week. You're meeting everyone, and I got that call a week. I was in China when I got it, and they offered me the job, but I had just signed on to do a television show, and I was going to be gone for the next 3 months.
Dang.
And so couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And so then I did a few episodes. They hosted a bunch of television, and so then I was kind of doing that. You know what I mean?
How did you even get into the stunts?
I was always wanted to be a stuntman my whole life. I had an interview in like '95, and I talked about like I'm gonna be a stuntman, and so I started doing bike stunts here and there in the early '90s. I did a Nintendo commercial Spike Jonze directed.
Sick.
And then I did I would double one of the guys in the show called Pacific Blue, like some mountain bike cop show, and then I always just kind of had it in the back, kind of when somebody would call, but it was always bike stuff until 2005 after I did this movie Stick It. I got some jobs like playing like ultimately what I would play for the next 20 years, just terrorists and bad guys. You'd be a terrorist too. Yeah, look at you.
He knows that.
Yeah.
If I can get paid, I'm doing it.
You got no other use for you other than terrorists.
I'm good,
and bad
man.
guys.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I could rock the airbag.
If you're not 6 foot tall and white, you are a terrorist. Or in Black Panther, and that's it. I know that sounds terrible, but it's the truth. Think about it. There's like 15 Avengers. Like 13 of them are 6 foot tall white guys. That is just who we hire to be the stars of the TV shows and movies. So there's more opportunities for guys to double those guys.
All right. So I'm.
Who am I going to double?
So
George
I'm a terrorist
Lopez?
on the plane with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, in about 5 minutes, you're going to be dead. And then, we're going to go on to the
So I
important
go to the
shit.
next job.
Yeah, just as long as you hide your face.
Okay.
Hide your face so you can work on that show again. Otherwise, you can't have a dead guy come back to kill someone in the next episode.
That's so good.
That's too good.
That is the politics of stunts.
Wait a second. So you jumping from job to job to job?
Well, on a stunt?
Yeah.
You're just working.
So you're only there for a very short period of time.
Yeah, like this last summer, I worked on a show called Lioness. It's a Paramount Plus show with Taylor Sheridan. Great show. Zoe Saldana's a star. But the whole thing was military, Mexican military, and some other ones. So I can play any of that. We're covered up usually, so I can be in every episode. Because you can't see me die, but I die in almost every episode, But a lot of times, like on like SWAT or something like that, which I've actually never worked on, but one of those type shows, you go in, you're the bad guy, dropper, and you're dead, and that's it. So you come in like this.
Stop. Save my job. Don't save me.
Are they directing you that way? You have to watch out for yourself.
You watch out for yourself. I mean, unless you have to see your face shown, but if you're like a bad guy or like a thug in a group, you do your best to cover yourself so that you cannot be recognized.
Interesting.
Like some episodes, I'll be in some episodes as 3 different people in the same episode. And they'll just be like, and a lot of times the stunt coordinator is telling you that, like, hide your face. I need to use you later.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Is there a difference in earning potential if you're going on a TV show versus a movie?
I mean, there's union wages, right? So you get a day rate for, and I don't know exactly, but I want to say a day rate for stunts is about $1,200 and something bucks for the first 8 hours. Then you get and then, after 10 hours, after 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and exponentially. But if you're on a show 15 hours in a day, you can make a lot of money in a day, especially if you have a stunt adjustment too. Like if let's say I have to get shot and it's not just your regular fall down, it's like doing something, you get hurt and you have to do it 10 times or something, you might get $100 or $500 or whatever it is for each time you do it.
Got it.
And then that factors into how you get paid for overtime because it factors into your hourly.
So the more dangerous, the
more money
you can make.
Now, you might be on a weekly too. So a weekly would be you're working obviously the whole week, and they get a bit of a discount for hiring you for the week. And I think that's like $4,000 something.
How are those negotiated? Do you have an agent negotiating?
No,
on your
that's
behalf?
these are union wages.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so
just
you-
hit
you-
flat.
Yeah. Now there is guys who will make double scale or something because they're Chris Pratt's double, and Chris Pratt has said, "Hey, this is my double. He's now going to make this."
So you want to be a double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said though, unless George Lopez is going to become an action star, I'm just probably going to die in the background.
Yeah, you have a distinct look.
Yeah.
And the counter is
Fat and
unfortunately
dead.
not. Yeah. It's too good.
I don't know, man. Listening to this, I might want to go into business with this guy on the terrorist side of films.
But it's great. So it's great depending on who we're fighting in the world. If you know what I mean, as long as they keep in the Middle East, I got a job.
Michael would do, bro.
We go back to fighting Russians.
That's too good. Mikey, what's your podcast about? Well, terrorists. Sometimes money. That's too good. I had no clue. That's interesting. What's the politics like in the industry?
Well, I don't, without sounding like you're complaining, because I'm not. I'm really and even what I said about like being 6 foot tall and white, you have more options. It's not a complaint. That's just the world we live in. If you want to work on a mountain, you're going to be in the cold.
Oh, that's right. So I guess here's my question, right? It's politics inside of corporate America. There's certain moves you have to make to move up, right? Is it entirely based on how you look? Or are there, what are you wrestling with to climb in this industry?
There is definitely a skill level. There are people who are very skillful. I'm never going to get hired to fight a ninja. You know what I mean? Like, this is not going to happen. You know what I mean? I'm going to get fired as a drunk. I'm going to get hired because I get punched in a brawl in a bar, right? So there's a skill level, and there is just like skateboarding, there's like the difference between a guy who's maybe turned pro on a brand and Eric Costin or Nija. There's a difference. You know what I mean? Even though they can all be in the same contest.
Right.
Right? So there's difference. And let's put it this way. My whole life, every time I went into a room, I usually felt like the most talented, physically talented person in the room based on all the stuff I could do, right? And normal people. On my first movie set, I felt like the least. These stunt people are the most talented, hardworking, keep their mouth shut people you've ever met in your life. Right. You know what I mean? You got dudes who are on fire, falling out of windows, getting burnt on the way down, and breaking a rib, and they're going to get up and go, oh, good, let's go again. You know what I mean? They're keep their mouth shut, and they're going to go back to their trailer and be like, oh, up. So, but not that they get hurt every time. The point is that there's stunts in almost everything you watch, and there's not that many injuries,
Right.
And so So did you feel like you couldn't compete with them? No, it's not that. I just realized you realize that no one is getting a free ride. Like, these people work very hard, and the people who are working train very hard every day, the same way we would when we were kids. And I think I became into the sport, into stunts, or took it serious more when I was a little bit past that part of my life where, like, I have a kid. I can't go train every day. I've got other responsibilities. So I know where I fit in, and I'm totally fine with that.
Right.
I just wish there was more of it going around to be able to work. There's 100 of us ready to blow someone up and die. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of competition for that, and it is a lot of who you're friends with. Right. And out of sight, out of mind. If you're out training with these guys and you're skating with them or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, even like, a lot of these guys will surf or motocross, and they do that together, and that's who they hire.
Got it.
And there's no, like, I get it. That's what I would do too.
Yeah.
I do. But that's just the way it is. And so for me, I've got other stuff going on too. And so stunts is like this thing. I just had to reframe it in my head different.
Right.
Because it was depressing not working. You're like, what? Why I'm not working? I could see this guy on set, and I know he sucks. You know what I mean? Like
the way he just flew back when he got shot, that was weak.
You think that that's a joke, but
it's for real.
Do you see people who can die? And you realize how terrible you are at dying. You're like, wait, I fall over dead. But then you see guys who can do it good, and you're like, I'd blow both my knees out if I felt like that.
I legit just saw a freaking TikTok video of some guy getting basically shot on the mat, like 7 different ways to get shot. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. It looked, no lie, it looked like it was just full of whiplash.
It should look like, though, when you get shot, there's no you know what I mean? It should look like your whole body's being held up with strings, and you just cut the strings because the lights go out. Your lights don't flicker and do stuff when you turn the switch off. Yeah. They go out. Yeah. So there's a skill to it, and people work very hard. And when you see it good, you'll have a reaction to it. You'll be like, oh damn, that was violent. But he didn't do anything different than the guy who was shot on this TV show. He just did it better.
So when you're
here we go.
When you're training to get good at dying, on set, Are you watching people get killed?
You're watching people get killed, but you're also then going back and you're doing it and filming yourself like, oh, what did I do? Did my head go up? Like, why would your muscles go up when you were head shot? Everything's down. Almost like you're forcing yourself down to the ground, you know, because the lights are out. And then, but it also depends on like where you're shot. You know, if you're shot in the shoulder, you don't jerk this way. You know, you're hit here. Like there's all these different things, right? And there's a mechanic to it and there's an art form to it. And that's when I said earlier that it's underrated. It's because people don't realize how much goes into making you believe what you're watching without you thinking about it. Right. You don't ever go think, oh, damn, that guy died good. You're like, that dude's dead.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? You don't ever think about it. So the thing is, it's an art form and an acting that is, I mean, I can't believe there's not an Oscar for it. It's absolutely insane that there's not an Oscar for it.
That's what I was wondering. I feel like stuntman is a very thankless job in Hollywood.
Oh, it is 100%. There are soldiers. To come in, do the most dangerous thing we're going to do today where you could die and then get off set because I don't want to see you. You know, it's like, and we're also trained that way. It's changing a little bit. Especially in the last few years, there's been some movies and some
the Fall Guy, right?
Yeah, and movements to sort of celebrate. And some of the actors are saying, "Hey, we're not doing our own stunts," which I think a lot of the thought was before is that the studios and people didn't want you to know that the actors that wasn't them, because you think about you these stars that they spend so much money on. And then when people can put the two together, that I'm not really watching them.
Yeah, so like is Tom Cruise just like a
That's what I
total
was
Now Tom Cruise is
liability?
different. Yeah, I'm sure Tom Cruise is different. You know, because he does all his stuff, but he can afford to be the liability.
He does
It's amazing.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've never worked with him, so
'Cause
based
no
on
one
what I
has,
know,
right?
based on what I know, yeah, he does. They're not gonna do something that he's gonna get hurt on. Meaning, obviously, he's not gonna do a car hit.
He's not doing a car.
He's not gonna. I wouldn't believe that he would do a car hit.
But
Why would somebody? But all the other stuff that requires skill, where he's doing stuff like skydiving and flying plane, yeah, he's doing it all.
So he'll hang on to a plane,
Yeah.
but like to stay away from a car.
What about climbing the side of the building? That was
Yeah,
actually him doing it?
I don't know, but I would assume so. You know, he's on harnesses and wires, you know. Same as a stuntman would be.
Is it gnarly driving a motorcycle the way he did off the cliff and then like pulling the suit?
Look,
Is that basic for like?
That's
you're
not
a
basic.
sky-
It's not basic because you have to have the skills. You have to have base jumping skills and motorcycle skills. So that's like saying, is it gnarly to ollie a 10 stair? You're like,
Okay,
well,
that's a good.
you know what I mean? Like, no, it's not gnarly. Other people can do it, but
If you know how
if
to
you
skate.
asked Dak Shepard to ollie a 10 stair, you'd be like, holy dude. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like Pastrana and Jolene did that stunt a long time ago.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, just off the side of the Grand Canyon. That was like a few 100 feet tall.
Oh, she
and
did
they
it-
both. Yeah, and she'd never base jumped before.